and welcome to my book haul video. I have been collecting books over the past few weeks from Thriftbooks, Book Outlet. I got a couple new releases from Barnes & Noble that I'm really excited about. And then I also have a few books that I collected from used bookshops that I've been to recently. And I'm always stopping at Little Free Libraries, and so I have a few free books that I have gathered from Little Free Libraries. So I'm gonna start with my Thriftbooks haul. I just have two here to show today. The first one is a beautiful Hazelwood by Melissa Albert copy. It is a hardcover. The end pages are beautiful. It has this embossing on the front, so it is lovely. So something that I do is when I know that I want a book from Thriftbooks, I will kind of load my cart with things that are pretty easy to find, so that when a book comes through that I'm like, I need to get this, I can get free shipping. I already have books loaded in there so that I can just add to cart, get my free shipping, and I wanted those books as it was. So the second one that I have is by Jim Murphy. It's called The Great Fire. It is a Newbery honor book, and it is about the fire in Chicago in 1871, and it has photographs in it of the actual event. It has diagrams so that you can kind of see how the city is laid out and what was affected. It has pen and ink drawings through it. So we will use this for school this year, and I am so excited to have it. And again, I love getting beautiful copies from Thriftbooks. Sometimes they will come through in a quality that it didn't say that it was, but their app makes it so easy. You just go into the app, tell them the order number, the book number, if you have a photograph of any problems, and they handle it either by sending out a replacement book or by just crediting your account if they can't find a replacement. So I love using Thriftbooks. So those are my first two, and they are middle grade. So next I have a haul from Book Outlet. They had a deal recently with some discounts, and then I also used credits that I have with Book Outlet. I do have my link below. It just gives me a discount when I get points if you use that. So the first one I got is When Stars Are Scattered. This is by Omar Mohammed, and then the illustrator is Victoria Jameson. This is a middle grade graphic novel about Omar and his younger brother Hassan, who live in a refugee camp in Kenya. We've actually already read this. My youngest has not, but my oldest and I have already read it. We love it. It turns out that the author is actually local to our area. I couldn't resist having this on our shelves. Victoria Jameson also illustrated Roller Girl, and that is on my TBR for May. So I just wanted this for my shelf, and it was a good price. And then next, we found this copy at the library, and it just was too lovely to pass up. I already have a copy of Watership Down. It's this old paperback copy where the print is really small, and I just couldn't resist when I saw, I had said, oh, I should get an illustrated one of Watership Down. And then when I saw this on Book Outlet for such a great price, I again could not resist. And so I've read this, and my oldest has read this, my youngest has not. He leads a book club. He chooses the book, and then we go and meet in his room and do book club, and he wants to do this summer for book club. And so I'm really excited to reread this and to just have a great summer reading Watership Down with my kids. Next, I got this as a gift for my oldest. So she is a budding ornithologist. So it first of all has these illustrations about these birds, and then what it does is it actually is a paper craft, and you can punch it out and then put it out on your shelf, and it becomes kind of this decoration book. It says it's a collection of birds that transforms into a work of art, and this is by Matt Merritt. Again, doing price comparison with this compared to any other place I could get it, Book Outlet was much lower. And then lastly, I got Lightfall by Tim Probert. I've talked about this book a lot on my channel. This is The Girl in the Galdurian. This is book 1. The illustrations in it are my favorite. I love them. I have said multiple times that I want to live there. I just love it so much. And again, it was a much better price on Book Outlet than anywhere else, even used. And so I find that a lot, actually. New books are not necessarily better priced on Thriftbooks, but they are on Book Outlet. So I grabbed this for our shelves. We've all read it. And then next I splurged and ordered books from Barnes & Noble. They had a deal recently of 25% off of new releases. So I actually got 2 at the time that were shortly to come out, and then there's one that I'm waiting this fall for, and I went ahead and ordered that because I knew that I wanted that on my shelf and that the publisher would match. Do you guys do that where if you have a publisher kind of cover, you want to make sure that if you get the series, that cover matches, or does it not matter? Same thing with paperback, hardback. If you have a series, is it okay that some are paper and hardback, or do you like it all to match? Book 2 of Lightfall came out. This is The Shadow of the Bird. And again, the illustrations are just so beautiful. I just can't, let me show you. I mean, here's more golden colors like the first one. It's just beautiful, and we love the story, and so I went ahead and, like I said, splurged and got the new release. But again, with the 25% off from Barnes & Noble, it was not a huge stretch. And then I've been waiting for this one. It is called Shinji Takahashi and the Mark of the Kotal. This is about a main character who is a homeschooler, and he ends up being used as a conduit for magical powers, and he has this quest and magic that he has to kind of access to be able to defeat this evil power or corporation. That's what I know about it. So I have not read it. It did just come out, and I am excited to read it really soon. So continuing in that kind of middle grade age group, the next part of my haul are books that I got used at some local used bookstores. This is The Princess Academy by Shannon Hale. It's a Newbery Honor book, and I love Goose Girl. It's one of my favorite books. I've actually read Princess Academy, but my oldest has not, and so because I found this for like 50 cents, I went ahead and grabbed it. Typically, we would just use it for a library book, but this way, when we're traveling, we don't have to worry about is it a library book or not. She can just read this in the camper or at the cabin. And then next I got Margaret Peterson Haddox's The Greystone Secrets, The Strangers, which is book 1. The kids and I have started this, but we have not finished it. They are working through the Mysterious Howling, the Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place series, which is a phenomenal series. And I keep telling them if they don't get through it quickly, I am going to start this without them. So I'm really excited about this. The first couple chapters that we read were such a hook of what is going on. I was so excited when I found this. I think this was $2 at the used bookstore, and for our hardback in really great condition, that was a great price. So that ends the middle grade books, but I'm still in the used book haul part of this. So I found C.S. Lewis Out of the Silent Planet, just a really short book. This is his sci-fi space trilogy. I don't know anything about this, but again, for 50 cents, I figured I would grab this. If I want to read the other 2, I can choose to get them from the library or find them some other way. But I am excited to read. I've read a lot of his fiction and nonfiction, children and adult, and I've loved it all. And so I'm excited to start this trilogy. I found the Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. This again was like $1. I haven't ever read this. I know that there are YouTubers that I follow that love this book. So I think it's like this kind of family drama that spans a long period of time, I think, and it also has to do with post-colonial Africa. I mean, there's a lot going on here. It talks about the Congo's fight for independence from Belgium, the murder of a prime minister, the CIA coup. Lots going on as there is this battle for independence. I also saw Never Caught, The Washington's Relentless Pursuit of Their Runaway Slave Ona Judge by Erica Armstrong Dunbar, and this won the National Book Award. I only found out about Ona Judge recently from our homeschool curriculum and read a picture book about her, and then when I saw this, I thought, wow, I really would like to read this, and honestly will most likely pass it on to my mom when I'm done. If you don't know anything about Ona Judge, I would encourage you to research that story, and I cannot wait to read this book. I also found Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram Kendi. I have read his other work, How to Be an Anti-Racist. I saw this, and this was actually before that. I mean, look at this chunker. He is a professor, and this really is like a textbook. And so I think it will end up tabbed and highlighted and underlined, and it will be slow going. But again, another National Book Award winner, and something that I have been wanting to get into. Okay, so two more that I have from my used book haul is Dorothy Sayers. This is 4 of her books with the Lord Whimsy, I guess it's Lord Peter Whimsy character. This reminds me so much of the Agatha Christie books that I have, where they're like a tome of just, I think it's 5. I have 5 Hercule Poirot and 5 Miss Marple all in one set. This is a similar thing where they've got 3 of them on here. I have not ever read any of Dorothy Sayers and have wanted to. So when I saw this, again, I think because it's a hardback, it was $2. I grabbed it. And then lastly, I heard, I think Chantel at Chantel Reads All Day talking about this book, The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. And so it ended up on a list. So when I'm out and about, I have a list of books that I am interested in either reading or purchasing, and that way I'm not trying to remember what it is that I'm looking for. And this was on that list, and I thought, oh wow, there's that one. It's been on that list for a while. And again, I found it used for $2. It is huge. So my plan is to kind of save up these huge books for winter reading when I may not be able to get out and get to the library. So continuing in the adult books, these are all books that I found in little free libraries. So this is The Heir to Seven Waters by Juliette Marillier. I love her Wildwood Dancing. It's one of my favorite books. And so when I saw this, I grabbed it. I have done some research, and it turns out this is in a series, I think. But again, from what I've read, it doesn't matter that it's in a series. And so I think I'm going to go ahead and read it, even though I may miss what happened beforehand. So there's a lot of like fae involvement here, mysterious forest. So she talks about a thin veil between realms. So there is some fantasy in there, which is totally expected by Juliette Marillier. I found Into Thin Air by Jonathan Krakauer. I actually thought that my husband may want to read this. So this is the story of Jonathan Krakauer, who summited Mount Everest. And this is his story during the deadliest season of history in Everest. So I think there's a movie about it also, but again, it's free, so I grabbed it for my husband. I may read it too. I had him in mind. I got Maeve Binchy, Firefly Summer. So if you haven't read any Maeve Binchy, she is just a fun, quick read about families and friends and struggles in life, and she's just a great Irish writer. So this is the same concept. It's a woman and her husband have a rollicking pub in the Irish village of Mount Fern. They've got twins, and then the summer changes. Something happens. My plan for this is I'm gonna throw it in my bag, take it on our summer travels, read it, and find another little free library and drop it off in it. I got Philippa Gregory's The Other Boleyn Woman. I have read some of her other books and have really enjoyed them. This is her most well-known book, and so I wanted to give it a try. I found these two, which is The Kite Runner and The Mountains Echoed by Khalid Hosseini. And he wrote The Kite Runner first. And this one I know is about Afghanistan and Russian invasion And this one is not a sequel to it, but it's written by the same guy. And this one I think is more global in nature, but I think Afghanistan does play a role in this one as well. And so I grabbed them. And I found The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. So I have read a few of her books, more of the short stories, not something that is this long of hers. And she is a Nobel Prize winning author, and this is about the last emperor in China. And she actually says, I can only write what I know, and I know nothing but China, having always lived there. So it's kind of her perspective on it. And then I found Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego. This one will be for my youngest. It is like a choose your own adventure, but in time. And I mean, it's so interesting. It has Alexander Dumas, who wrote The Count of Monte Cristo. He also read The Black Tulip, which I started in February and DNF'd it. And he also wrote The Three Musketeers. It talks about Charles Darwin, Paul Revere. I mean, it has all kinds of historical mentions in here, and then you have to solve a where is Carmen Sandiego in a specific time. It even had, I mean, to find this in a little free library is amazing. It has all the little cards still in there with the information. So such a great find. And then lastly, I found this Enchanting Elves How to Draw book, and it has all these instructions for drawing elves, and here's a little gnome, and it gives you all of the steps for drawing them. So I grabbed that, and oh, I mean, look at this for the winter. So I'm not super artistic, but my kids really are, and so I thought, again, it was something we could do together, or I could just pass it off to them for them to be able to draw what's in here. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed seeing these 25 books that I have gathered from all different kinds of places. Let me know if you've read any of them, if you would recommend them, or if you would say, yeah, that one's not really worth the time. I would love to hear your input on them. Until next time.